Next, I have the pleasure of welcoming Mustafa Dossajee, partner at SB Partners, a full-service accounting firm and generous sponsor of DTBY's programs. Mustafa is a community leader, soccer coach, and an accomplished businessman who has helped SB Partners build a culture for giving back to the community. Through SB Partners' charitable efforts, Mustafa has supported many community organizations across Southern Ontario, including DTBY. Please join me in welcoming Mustafa.
Thank you, Alexa. So when I was offered the opportunity to present today, I was super excited. And then I asked the organizers, who is the audience for this presentation? And they said it was high school students. Then I got a little bit nervous. I have 2 children, both are in high school, and half the time they don't listen to me. So I'm hoping that this is not one of those half times that you're not listening, and I won't ask your parents either. My kids turned out pretty well, and I'm hoping, I had the ability to influence them positively along the way. So, their life is obviously like anybody else's, full of ups and downs. When they're up, it's amazing. They're on top of the world. And when they're down, it's literally the end of the world. Nothing can, get them high again. I can't solve all the problems, obviously. It would take about 25 hours of my day to solve their problems. But what I can do is offer some personal experiences to them and help them kind of along the way. So one of the things I do to them is help them see that when they're faced with a challenge, they need to face that challenge positively. And that impacts the outcome of the challenge. And when you have a series of challenges that you're faced with, ultimately what happens is that molds you into the character that you will ultimately become. So I'll give you one of my personal experiences from my background. And I'm originally from Kenya. And if anyone who's been to Kenya or is from Kenya in the crowd? Oh, awesome. Not that many. So anyways, for those who don't know, Kenya is a country in Africa. It's on the eastern coast of Africa, on the equator, and borders the Indian Ocean. For those of you who may have heard of it, it's very popular for its safaris and equally popular for the long-distance runners that the country produces. So we have some fantastic, world champions in long-distance running. So as I was growing up, after I graduated from university, I got my first job, and I needed a car to get to work. So I took my, I inherited my father's car, which, in kind of 4 letters, it was a piece of junk. It was a 20-year-old Audi 100, so a fairly big car, very heavy. And after I acquired the vehicle, it refused to start in the morning. It would never start. It was fine during the day, the car would start, but in the morning it did not start. So this was a stick shift car. For those of you who know what a stick shift is, I'm hoping. And every morning what we would have to do is, the way to start the car was to push start the car. So you'd push this, my mom or dad would sit in the driver's seat, we'd push the vehicle, it would gather some speed, and you'd put on the ignition and crank the engine such that the car would start. And that's how every morning this was an exercise that I went through. So there I was, in my full suit, because we had to dress formally, suit and tie. And there I was on the streets, pushing this car, going up and down the streets in case, because it doesn't crank in one shot. So you're pushing it one way, if it doesn't start, you push it the other way, eventually it starts the car. So that's kind of a morning exercise that we'd go through. A little bit, frustrating. You're trying to get to work quickly, and a little bit embarrassing too, because all the neighbors are watching from the window. Hey, what is this crazy family up to, right? And thank God, there was no smartphones back then, no TikTok, no YouTube for that matter, or those videos would really have gone viral. But anyways, the lesson was that what happened was after, while of doing this, I realized that I developed these really strong muscles in my legs, right? So it was really powerful. And about 1 year, fast forward 1 year, I joined a cycling club. And I was one of the strongest, one of the strongest teammates on the cycling club. Fast forward a little bit more, and what ended up happening is we would enter competitions, and part of those competitions, part of that training that we do for these competitions, we'd actually push cars. So it worked out really well. So basically, my source of frustration back then, I didn't know, what I was going through. I was a little bit frustrated. Eventually ended up being one of my key strengths. So fast forward kind of to today, 21 and a half years I've been in Canada, 15 years and 2 days with SP Partners. I'm an accountant, so I count how many days I've been here. My role at SP Partners, what it really entails is solving client problems. So when I'm faced with it, clients come to us with all sorts of, unique problems. It could be, that they want to buy a car. Should they, for their business, should they pay, for it in cash? Should they purchase it using financing, or should they lease it? Or it could be they want to buy a house or a cottage or a commercial property. How do they finance that property? Or it could be they want to start up a new business. Starting up a new business has its own challenges, navigating the tax rules and the legislations, and all the government rules as well. Or it could be that they want to sell their business, so they need a valuation for their business. Or once they've sold their business, have all this, cash sitting in the bank account, should they be giving it to their, kids who are in high school? So those are the kind of problems I'm faced with every day. And what happens is I look at everything that I've done in the past, all the challenges that I've faced in terms of problem solving. I gather all that together, draw from the experiences of other individuals, combine that with all the education that I got in school, and not just university education, but also high school education, where I started my accounting and tax courses. And I put that together into one package, and that becomes a very, very lethal potion for a client, to help them overcome their challenges. Part of my role at SB Partners as well is working with organizations like Dare to Be You. This helps us, get out in the community and see the people who are actually making a significant impact to the community. It allows me to stand here today and tell you that, you are essentially the future, right? So what you do today, what attitude you have today, how you perceive life today, the choices that you make today, will ultimately mold the person that you will become, and the type of leader that you'll become, which will take us into kind of next, into the next world, into the next generation. So in short, what I'm trying to say is that my future literally depends on all of you sitting here. Take care of it. Take care of me.